Welcome to Top 5 Friday. On this week's edition, I'm going to go over the games that I want the most, the games that have eluded me and that I can't seem to find or they're just too expensive. So let's get right into the... Wow, looks like the lights just went off. Well, we need to pay the bills, so this Top 5 Friday is brought to you by Alliance. Alliance is a classic for a reason. It combines the best of all the top RPGs you've ever played. What people love most about this game is the 10,000 different hero combinations that really put your skills to the test. Meaning that, unlike a lot of RPG mobile apps, this one you have to work for your win. It has real-time PvP, crazy giant boss battles, never-ending hero combinations, and massive guild battles finally on mobile. So what more do you need? Go down to the link below, download the game, and get your 50,000 gold and 50 gems for totally free.
It's Friday night, don't know what I'm gonna do tonight. I could sit here and pick my nose while I watch a brand new video. Whoa, Top 5 Friday tonight.
Number 5 is a game that's always eluded me, and whenever I see it, it's probably always like $300 to $350, and that's Panic Restaurant. Panic Restaurant is a great game. It's fun. I played it on emulator. Is it worth $300 to $350? Absolutely not. I would never pay that much for any video game, unless it was a Nintendo World Championship or something like that. But it's still a very rare game on the NES, very sought after, and something that I'm probably never going to get a hold of because the days of finding like Flintstones and Little Samsons and potentially Panic Restaurants out in the wild for $2 are probably over. So it's one that I'll probably never have because I'm not going to pay $300 or close to $400 for it. Number 4 on the list is Enhinder. This is a horizontal shooter on the PlayStation. It's one that I've played at other people's houses, and it's also one that it drives me crazy, but because I could have gotten it for like $30 at one point at a game store, but it was worth around $30. Little did I know that one day it would be 40, and then 50, and then 60, and then 70, and then 80. It just keeps on going up, and I'm like, I have a hard time buying a game for $80 if I knew at one point it was $30. I feel like I'm ripping myself off. And I know it's not necessarily the case, but I can't help but think that, and it drives me crazy. I've always been a fan of shooters. There's just something kind of therapeutic about just blasting everything in sight that I've always been drawn to. But this game has always eluded me. I've never seen it at a flea market or a thrift store or anything for any decent price. I've always only seen it at game stores and conventions for what it's going for. And I guess I kind of caught myself slipping by not getting it when it was a lot cheaper than it is now. Number 4 on the list is Arrow Fighters on the Super Nintendo. This is another shoot 'em up that's always been on my radar. One of those elusive Super Nintendo games. There's like a handful of Super Nintendo games that are just really hard to find and really expensive. And this has always been one that's been kind of under my radar that I've wanted to get. But again, it's another one of those things that I've never seen out in the wild, only seen it at conventions for a few $100s. And I'm not gonna pay that much for any video game. So Arrow Fighters, while it just seemed like a really fun game, to me, no game is worth that amount of money, and I will probably never own it. Number 3 is Snatcher on Sega CD. Now, this is not exactly my type of game. I've never been to any sort of like point-and-click adventures, but it always seems like everybody that I talk to who's played this game says it's one of their favorite games they've ever played. Alpha Mega Sin, John from RetroWare. There's been others who've just been impacted by this game and just said how amazing it was. So while it may not be one of the games that I would consider like in my sort of expertise, my genre, if you will, it's always been one of those that's kind of I've been curious about, but I haven't been curious enough about it to want to blow $400 to buy it. So maybe one day I can find it for $2, but until then, Snatcher will just have to pass me by. Number 2 on the list is Halloween for the Atari 2600. I kind of also want to slash and say Texas Chainsaw Massacre on the 2600. I know that's cheating, but let's focus on Halloween. I love the 2600. I love collecting for the 2600. And this is one of those obscure movie license games that you just can't find anywhere. These guys were so lazy that some of the games don't even have actual labels on it. They have masking tape with Halloween written on it. I want to find one of these so bad. And just whenever I look into a box of Atari games, whether it be a thrift store or a flea market or just anywhere, that's what I'm like, I've got to find a Halloween. Please let there be a Halloween in here. And no, Air Sea Battle, I got Combat, I got E.T., but no Halloween. I've never seen a Halloween out and about ever at any point. It is driving me crazy. 10 years of collecting, 10 years plus of collecting, never once run into a Halloween. That tells you how rare it is. So I would absolutely love to own Halloween and play it on Halloween. So before I can do number one, I want to go over a couple of honorable mentions. Actually, just one honorable mention. Well, it's a group of honorable mentions. I would like to own every Gremlins game ever made sealed. I have one, the NES game. I have that sealed, but I would love to have I'm talking like everything from the PC, the Commodore 64, Wii, Game Boy, all of it. I would just love to have any Gremlins game sealed in the box and have a little Gremlins display set up for my game room. My number one most wanted game is Diner on the Intellivision. This thing is pretty rare. It's a follow-up, a sequel to Burger Time. And I believe it was only on the Intellivision. This game is extremely rare. At least it is in the box. I see it occasionally loose in the $30 to $50 range whenever I see it, and that's if I see it. But in the box, it's nearly impossible to find. I saw it once at a game store, and this is how rare it was. It had just come through. We were looking at it, and the person working there said that, oh wait, this isn't for sale because the owner wants to keep it. And so the owner wanted to keep the game, and I couldn't buy it. Which, if we owned a game store, I'm pretty sure we would do that too, which is why we'll never own a game store, because we'll go out of business. But regardless, that's the closest I've ever come to actually owning a diner on the Intellivision. Maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I'll have to resort to just owning it loose, which I guess is better than nothing, but I'd really love to be able to find it in the box. I just don't think that it's ever going to happen because it's just so damn rare. So there you have it. There's my top 5 most wanted games. Yes, I realized that there was 2 number 4s and that this ended up being a top 6 video, but hey, what are you going to do? I bet you a lot of you thought that it would be stadium events and Nintendo World Championships and stuff like that on this list, but honestly, I just don't really have any desire to own these outside of, hey, maybe I could sell it and buy some games that I really do want. I'm not big on owning something just because it's super rare and not many people have it. I mean, that's cool if some other people are and you are, but to me, that's never really been a motivator. I like stuff that I just have a connection with or I find interesting, and most of the stuff on my list is in the $60 to $300 to $400 range, not something crazy like $10,000 like some of these games. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed my list, and I'm pretty sure you're probably surprised, which is cool on these lists because usually they're very predictable. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and if you have a most wanted game, let me hear below, right here in the comments section. Thank you for watching. Alright, so in screen we got the subscribe thing, we got the video, we got the Patreon, and down below we have DVDs and shirt links if you want to get some of those. But anyway, any way you want to support us by subscribing, by video, I'm probably going to get cut off here.